Welcome pilot to the Caprican Autocracy skills tutorial. In this video I'll just be covering the basics of what skills you should be training, what your goals are in terms of short and mid-term training, and how skills generally work. So first off, you've probably already done your remap where you set your attributes to maximize in perception and whatever's left in intelligence in the factional warfare training video. So now we're going to jump right into your short-term training goal, which is training for the Federation Navy Comet. So what you want to do is you want to go to your fittings menu, you go to browse at the bottom right corner, from personal fittings you go to corporation fittings at the top left, and then you go to frigates and then the Federation Navy Comet. In here it's going to tell you all the things you need. So you got your guns, your micro warp drive, which gives you a large speed boost, warp scrambler, which jams the enemy warp and also turns off their own micro warp drives if they have one fitted, the stasis webifier here, which slows the enemy down their base speed, the damage control, which gives you a bonus to your resistances in your shield, armor, and structure, reinforced bulkheads, which gives you more structure HP, the magnetic field stabilizer here, which gives you a bonus to your hybrid turret damage, and we're using hybrid turrets here, so it's going to boost the damage, a armor repairer to repair our armor, and the transverse bulkhead rigs, which increase the structure HP, and then our drones. This is one of the few frigates that can actually use drones, so that's really nice if you're a drone fan. On top of all these items, you also want to check if you can use the ship, so you go to the little I button here, and then you go to requirements, and in here it's going to tell you that you need Galente Frigate level 2. You also want to go to the description and view the extra skills that you'll need. So this specific fitting here requires CPU management level 4 and weapon upgrades level 2 at a minimum. And we want to be able to fly this beyond just a basic level, so it says here that you need a minimum of 140 DPS before you're able to fly this in any corporation fleets. To achieve that goal, you are going to need to level up these skills here: Galente Frigate, small hybrid turret, rapid firing, gunnery, surgical strike. These are very important damage dealing skills. I believe these are all the main ones. Galente Frigate, well, the reason why that's going to give us a bonus is if you go back to the ship's information window and you go to traits, it tells you that it's going to give you a 20% bonus to your damage output per level, and also a 7.5% tracking speed bonus per level. So every level you get your Galente Frigate skill up, these are the bonuses it's going to give you. Extremely useful. Every ship has traits, so before you fly a ship, always look at its traits, and it gives you an idea of what it's supposed to do. So this right here kind of tells you that you're not going to be putting energy turrets or projectile turrets on here. You're putting hybrid turrets on. Small hybrid turret will give you a 5% bonus to your damage output per level. Rapid firing will give you a 4% bonus to your firing rate per level. Gunnery gives you, I believe it's a 2% bonus. Let's see. Yeah, 2% bonus to your firing rate per level. And surgical strike gives you a 3% bonus to your damage output per level with turrets. The thing with surgical strike, however, is that it requires gunnery level 4. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy all these skills right now. Go to my market, and we're just going to see how this works. I'm looking for a Galente Frigate. It's all for sale here. I'm going to buy that. Small hybrid turret. Going to buy that. If I don't already have it, I don't care. I got money. Buying it. Rapid firing. Gonna buy that. And we got gunnery we already start with, so no big deal there. And surgical strike. I'm gonna buy that. There we go. Now they all appear in my items hanger. Gonna highlight them all, click on inject skill. I know not all of them are going to inject, like surgical strike for example. So I already had Galente frigate. I can't use surgical strike because I don't have gunnery level 4, and I already had small hybrid turrets, so I kind of bought those skills for no reason. I'm going to open my character sheet now. Make that a little bigger. I'm going to go to open training queue. I'm going to look for these skills. Probably a nice thing to get up first would be the wait a minute. Galente frigate should inject. There we go. The first thing I would do is probably just throw in Galente frigate for level 2. You want to do these in a specific order so you can get the bonuses as quick as possible without waiting too long. Like, you're not going to throw Galente frigate in for level 5 right off the bat. No, you do it in bits. Galente frigate 1, 2, then small rapid firing 1, 2, just like that. Probably want to throw gunnery in there. Gunnery level 4 is important because after that we can throw surgical strike in there. Rapid firing. Oh, can't exceed more than 24 hours unless you subscribe the account. This account I'm using currently is not subscribed, but you get the idea. Skills, they're very easy to train. You can click on remove, you can remove the skills, you can switch them around very easily, just like that. It's really self-explanatory. It tells you the total training time at the top right corner here. Nothing too fancy. So yeah, the Federation Navy Comet, it's a superb all-around ship. Moreover than just the Comet, if I go over to its information panel again, I go to skins, and I see the Navy Police Pursuit Comet. If I right click on that, I go to show info, and I click on the little preview tab here. It shows what this specific skin for the ship looks like. It's a police skin. Galente Police Department. Now, we're not Galente role players or anything like that. We just kind of find this to look pretty cool. Going around in fleets of frigates, largely rookies, 5-6 days old. It's about how long it would take for you to be able to fly this at this level. 5 or 6 days should be the goal. You'll receive training on how fleets work and whatnot. Yeah, so flying around being the space police, making people bend to our will and to our law is a general goal. Really fun for new pilots. The ship, after all fittings, costs about 20 million ISK, but what the corporation will do is that the corporation will fit all of these ships, and then we will sell them to corporation members during fleet ops for 10 million ISK apiece. So you're only paying 10 million ISK if you lose the ship, not a big deal. Corporation can afford to pay 10 million ISK a ship, no problem. We got billions and billions of ISK. Thanks to our glorious and fearless leader, Tino Braga, and all his billions of ISK that he gives to all of you peasants. Continuing on, I'm going to go here again. If you want to check what skills you need for all these items, all you got to do is click on their informational panel. You go to requirements, and it tells you what you need right there. If you don't have the skill, you go ahead and buy it. Very easy. I want to explain why I call this, for example, the X5 prototype engine inverter a stasis webifier, why I called this magnetic vortex stabilizer a magnetic field stabilizer. It's because these are just named versions of the actual item. So if I go to the X5 prototype engine inverter, for example, right click show info, or I just click on the information panel, doesn't matter. I go to variations, and it shows me all the variations of this item. The base of the item is stasis webifier. The Tech 2 version is stasis webifier. In between, you got all these named versions, okay? If I go to the stasis webifier, for example, I go to attributes, I see its maximum velocity bonus minus 50% to the target, optimal range 10 kilometers, activation cost 5 capacitor per cycle, each cycle being 5 seconds. Now if I want to go to the X5 prototype engine inverter, you're going to see why I put this one on there instead of, also the CPU requirements 25 under the fittings, and power grid is 1. So now if I shift click on the X5 prototype engine inverter, I get to compare the two, and you're going to see why I picked this one instead of the base one. First, let's go to the fittings. It takes 4 CPU less to fit the X5 prototype engine inverter. 4 CPU less. Now if I go to attributes, it takes a little bit less capacitor per cycle. It's more effective in terms of how much it slows the enemy down. It's pretty much the same in every other area of relevance anyways. The only downside is it's slightly more expensive. Not a big deal, a couple 100,000 ISK once you start earning your money in factional warfare isn't going to be a big deal. All items have variations, like for example the magnetic vortex stabilizer. If I go again to variations, it's the magnetic field stabilizer. I'll show you again the difference, why I choose that one over the base one. Oops. Shift click again to open the comparison window. I go to fittings, they're the same. I go to attributes, they're not the same. Ah, duh. That was stupid of me. I opened up the same one. There we go. Yeah, I found it odd they were the same in fittings. Yeah, so the CPU for the magnetic vortex is less, or more actually. That's a downside, but the Federation Navy Comet can take it, the fitting, as long as you have your CPU management for weapon upgrades too. That's what those requirements are there for. You go to attributes, you'll see the regular one, magnetic field stabilizer, is less in the damage modifier, and it's less in the rate of fire bonus. This is a Meta 4 item. A Meta 4 item is right below the Tech 2 variant. I'll show you here. The Tech 2 variant is better than the Meta 4 because it's a Meta 5. Okay, Meta 4 is always meaning it's just under Tech 2. Now, why would you pick a Meta 4 over Tech 2 then? Well, simple. The requirements. Meta 2 or Meta 5, or Tech 2 is more commonly called, requires more skills. A lot of people don't have the skills, to fit a lot of items, especially rookies, so they substitute with Meta 4 items, so long as the Meta 4 item is not crazy expensive. A good example of that would be on the guns for the Federation Navy Comet. If I go look at the guns on the Federation Navy Comets, they are Meta level 4. So if I go to the price, they're actually pretty pricey. I'm surprised I put that on the fitting. But considering it's a 20 or 12 million ISK ship, then again it's not a big deal. But if I were fitting, say, a crappy Tech 1 frigate, say like a Punisher or a Merlin or an Incursus, something like that, I probably wouldn't put these on there if I was a rookie, because it's just not worth it when the guns are the price of the actual ship, because those ships are worth about as much as these guns are. Instead, I'd go to the variations, and I'd look for the Meta 3 version as opposed to the Meta 4 version. I believe that's the anode. Yes, it is. The anode should be less expensive. Yes, it is. So I'd go for the anode. It's slightly less than the Meta 4, but it's better than the base Meta 1 version, and it doesn't cost as much. But for our purposes on the Federation Navy Comet, that's what we're going to want. So your skills, make sure you're getting these DPS skills up. There are other skills to consider, like your capacitor skills, which would be capacitor management, which gives you a 5% bonus to your capacitor's capacity per level, and capacitor systems operation, which gives you a 5% bonus to your capacitor's recharge rate per level. And the capacitor is basically just like your rechargeable battery on your ship that all your active modules, like the warp jammer or stasis web of fire here, use, or especially the micro warp drive. All these things require capacitor. As long as you manage them, though, you don't need to be cap stable on your ship. You'll know about that when you start fitting ships on your own. In terms of the longer term goal into training, we're actually not doing Galente, we're doing Caldari, and the reason for that is that it hits two birds with one stone. It's got good PvP potential, and it actually is hands down the best PvE option due to missiles, and Caldari being all up the ass with missiles. So the longer term goal in terms of Caldari training would be the Drake. If I go to item type, this is after the Federation Navy Comet. If I go to requirements, it's all Caldari stuff here. You got the traits. You look into that after you've done the Comet training. And even after the Drake, the goal is the Tengu, and that's a lot more fancy. If you go there, you got all sorts of requirements. It takes about 2 months to train for. That's okay. You got a lot of stuff to do in the meantime. Doctrines do change, so it might be that a month after this video that maybe we're not doing the Tengu anymore. But I don't see the Federation Navy Comet changing, because that is just the ideal ship for a rookie. Lots of damage for low skills, pretty cheap. It's pretty cool with the whole police thing going on. Rookies love it. You're not just going to be going for these items here. You're going to want to strive to get a little bit better. Like better than the minimum 140 DPS. What you will definitely want to do is get your weapons to Tech 2. That is a major thing for your damage output. So if I go to the information panel here on the weapons, I go to variations, I look at the Light Ion Blaster 2, I go to show info, and I check out the requirements. It takes about, well, it should take you about 5 or 6 days to get to this level. After you've done your remap, maybe put yourself some, maybe you got yourself some attribute implants, further speed up training. Yeah, so you're going to definitely want to work to these after you've gotten all this here done. Another thing here is getting your Tech 2 magnetic field stabilizer. That doesn't take long at all. Give you a slight bonus to your damage output. Only takes a day and a half or so after you've done your remap and everything. Little things like that really start boosting up your damage, and before you know it, you go from doing the minimum 140 to pushing 200. So that's your goal. Federation Navy Comets. After that, you go for the Drake, and so on after that. Keep in mind that this ship does use drones. So in order to use these drones, what do you need? Let's go to show info, requirements. You need drones level 3, and then you need light drone operation level 1. But be sure to look at other drone skills as well. You know, a lot of this is at your own discretion. You gotta do a lot of this yourself. Like, I don't have drone skills listed under here under the description. You should research these things yourselves. Take initiative. That's what this is all about. You need to strive to take your own initiative if you want to succeed. I and the corporation will help you out as best we can, but in the end we can't detail every little thing for you. A lot of this is at your discretion. Survival of the fittest, if you will. Drone durability, 5% bonus to your drone's HP, basically, because people can try and blow up your drone, so that really helps out. Drone interfacing helps out with the damage, but to get that you'll need drones level 5, so I wouldn't worry about that for the Comet just yet, because you can use 3 drones on the Comet, and each level in your drone skill gives you the ability to fly 1 extra drone up to a maximum of 5. The Comet fitting carries 5 drones. Just in case you lose a drone, you can deploy another one, up to a maximum of 3 on the Comet. So yeah, all you need is drone skills to level 3. Drone navigation is another skill to increase the velocity, but that requires drones level 4. Manage these at your discretion. Drone avionics is a rather big one though, because you want to be able to actually use your drones. If they can't go very far, then you can't really use them. So drone avionics is a very easy skill to train. The training multiplier is the absolute minimum, which is 1 times. So get that to like level 3 and you're good. That doesn't even take half a day. Little things like that. That's really about it for skills. I've taught you everything in regards to variations, the skill plan for the corporation, what you should be training, and how to work with skills and whatnot. So get working on the comments, ask questions if you need help in the factional warfare. Remember, if we do have our TeamSpeak server up, sometimes it goes down, but if it is up, log on TeamSpeak. If it is not up, you can always go to your corporation chat and go to the little mechanical gear icon there and go to join audio. And if you have a microphone, you can just press your middle mouse button to talk. If you do not have a microphone, well, then you can still ask your questions, yada yada yada, and somebody can just talk to you via the microphone and answer your questions a lot easier. It's easier on them, so they don't have to type, and it's easier on you to get more clear instructions. And I'll just leave audio there. So that's about it. Good luck, pilot, and get training those skills. Fly safe.